Hey, YouTube. Let's do this.
Well, they say I should approach you with caution, but not to let you be aware of my fear. Never know what you'll find. Don't understand your kind round here. Watching your moves, they look so radical. Hearing your words, they sound fanatical. Something inside reveals you're magical. Oh, how can I get enough? You're a strange animal, that's what I know. But you're a strange animal, I got to follow. They've been trying to stick a line in your system, analyzing the defenses you hold, trying to open wide, hoping to step inside your soul. But everything here is unfamiliar. Nothing they've seen remotely similar. How can it be you're so peculiar? Oh, how can I get enough? You're a strange animal, that's what I know. But you're a strange animal, I got to follow. Whoa, I got to follow. I got to follow. How can I get enough? You're a strange animal, that's what I know. But you're a strange animal, I got to follow. Oh, I'm in the spiritus. Wow. Oh, you're a strange animal, that's what I know. But you're a strange animal, I got to follow. Whoa, you're a strange animal, that's what I know. But you're a strange animal, I got to follow. Oh, I'm in the spiritus. Oh, you're a strange animal, that's what I know. But you're a strange animal, I got to follow.
And hey, everybody, welcome to Squash Talk. I'm Pat. How you guys doing tonight? Well. Where to start? I know where to start. Here's where I'm going to start. Thank you so much for showing up. You have no idea what that did to my heart and my spirit. And the only reason I know that because I did not pay, there is no chat in James's format. It's not like StreamYard where I can see chat and all my guests can see chat right here in the StreamYard realm. The only reason I know that is because of the last minute BS. And, we'll get to that. But thank you guys. And I saw it because I was before the show was going to start, I was going into chat and I was trying to bait. I was just trying to bait somebody to come in because at this point I was so committed, man. I didn't want it to fall apart. And at the same time, I'm juggling emails with Jorge. What's up, dude? I might bring you in here, just like hang out. We'll see. I need to talk for a minute. I'm juggling emails. I got email. I'm going back. I'm trying to bait skeptics in chat. I'm like calling myself low hanging fruit. I'm like, come on, you skeptics, jump in. And then Jorge became a option, but James wasn't sure because he's never had Jorge on Modern Day Debate, and Jorge doesn't use a camera. And I'm trying to talk him into, just going for it. And then I had him on the hook, and then this Alex guy shows up, right? You all saw Alex. And he's been on that channel so many times, and obviously for entertainment purposes, and that's fine, dude. Like James, like I get it. So like this is getting last minute, and again, like I'm in it to win it. Like I thought at one point James was going to just call it, and I was like, no, I'm if you call it, that's your prerogative, man. It's your channel. But I'm in it to win it. I'm staying right here until you tell me it's not happening. And so I'm dealing with all this multitasking freaking stress, man. Trying to stay in the game, And then James comes back to me. He's like, well, Alex will do it. And I'm not, dude, at this point, I'm cold with the Alex thing. I'm not thinking Alex. I know who this dude is, but I'm not thinking that. I'm just like, well, I don't know who Alex is. So, like, and James basically kind of laid it down. He was like, I'd prefer to have Alex. Not like, again, no affront to you or hey, James had his reasons for that. We just went over that. And I was like, all right, do it. Like at this point, I'm like, okay, so what you're telling me is I can have a debate. It's just I have to go in cold against this Alex guy I don't know anything about. So he's like, cool, we set it up. Obviously, we were late to air. It took some time, and then I jump in the room and I see Alex, and immediately I'm like, oh shit, Alex. I know who this guy is, man. I know who Alex is. I've seen him on that channel many times. So I immediately knew this isn't the debate you wanted, dude. This isn't like, I know who Alex is. I knew all the shit he was going to try and throw my way all the distractions, all the contrarian, just to be a contrarian, tactics, and again, entertainment. And there's something really funny about that, because Alex has always reminded me of Peter Kane, and you guys know what I mean. And then I kind of called him out on that, but the funny thing about me calling him out on being like Peter Kane is that he had no idea. He has no idea who Peter Kane is. I don't know, dude. That was just funny. But so now I know I'm dealing with Alex, and I'm like, okay, gear shift. Because now I have to constantly ping, 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 ping all the contrarian. Let's go down these 20 roads away from the point you just made. And by the way, Alex he's kind of an act. Like, he's an act, So he's a troll. Like, yeah, that's why I say Peter Kane. He's like Peter Kane in that way. He's an act. It's almost satire. It's almost satire. Peter Kane's satire, but Peter Kane does it in a way that some people don't even they can't tell. So Peter Kane and Alex are very similar. And again, the irony, the funny part is, it's like, if Alex takes my advice and Googles Peter Kane, man, he's going to see what I'm talking about. And he's going to be like, oh, you got me, after the fact, right? Anyway, so I had to go into that situation. I was so well prepared, and I really was, for the right kind of person. And even Jorge would have been better. I wish now that I could have persuaded James, like, no, not Alex, but Jorge. Again, at the time, I didn't know. Like, I didn't realize that Alex was Alex, the Alex that I knew off the channel. I just thought it was some skeptic, that was gonna, do anything other than what Alex does, right? So that's what was dropped into my lap last minute that I agreed to. And the reasons, I gave you all the reasons why I agreed to it, because I'm juggling 5 things, and I just wasn't thinking that it was, Tucker Carlson Alex. Sorry, Alex. I'm not, it's not personal. It's not fucking personal. But, Alex with his Tucker Carlson look and attitude, sort of, not really. And, so that's what I had to deal with. And I made the best of that situation I could. The only thought that kept going through my mind the whole entire time is that I have to keep bouncing, Alex's shit away, the way he's going to keep trying, just contrarian me down a rabbit hole. That's what he was trying to do. He was just trying to contrarian me down a rabbit hole. And I'm like, I'm not going to let you do that. I'm not going to let you do that. I'm not going to let you do that. But there's an audience watching. So I'm not trying to persuade Alex. I'm trying to persuade the audience. So I kept having to shift gears in my head, which is not easy to do. Between ping-ponging his shit and not letting it go down a rabbit hole, and persuade the audience the best I can. So give the presentation, in the fairest, clearest, most reasonable way that I possibly can with the actual body of evidence I did bring to the table. And uh that was a task. It was that I don't want to say it overloaded my circuitry, but it started to weigh on it. It took me it took me a little bit out of my natural environment, my natural kind of thinking processes. And so he threw me off a little bit because of, again, those those ping pong things I had to deal with. But overall, man, I kept my shit together. And at one point, man, I started, and see, James James shut that shit down quick. Because at one point I said, all right, you know, he tried to get personal about it. And like he was doing his thing, and like, hey, yeah, exactly, Donald, I'm clairvoyant. I bet I can guess what kind of a cigarette brand you smoke. You're right. And so I said, all right, fuck it, let's do it. you know Poof, let's do it. Gloves are off. All right, I bet you can't. And as soon as that started happening, that back and forth, James was like, that's why James shifted gears into, so Pat, you have clips. Like, James was doing his job, dude, as a moderator and a channel runner. You know, I could have sat there and fucked with Alex while he thinks he's fucking with me. I'm actually fucking with him for hours. So, uh, so I don't blame James for getting involved. Like, I saw, like, JD, like you said something about that earlier. Now, James did what he had to do at that point. Um, he had to do what he had to do, shift those gears, and I was happy to disengage from the clairvoyant cigarette talk, or wherever Alex wanted to go with all that. Um, and start showing the clips and get into that. And I'd say I beat him over the head with all that. If you watch that whole segment, dude, I had him, back a little bit, kind of doing this, and he didn't quite know where to go. When I dropped the heavy load, uh, of the reality of, okay, dude, you can knee jerk all you want, and play your role here, and say, it's a guy in a suit, and I'm dropping, like, actual this much fucking data and evidence and study, and I made the case well. So I did get to do that. I hope I get to do it again with a more reasonable debater. Not obviously I would have loved to done that with Jorge tonight, but now Jorge's seen all that. Um, so yeah, that's how it went down, right? Pretty much beginning to end. And James jumped into Q&A again. The personal stuff started coming back up. Like, I beat Alex down for a minute, and then he tried to come back with well, let me give you 20 things to deal with at once tactic, and maybe some personal stuff, some of it in a flattering way. Yeah. And then James jumped straight into Q&A, in which at that point pretty much cut Alex off, because the questions are probably coming towards me more than anything else. um but again, thank you guys for showing up. I appreciate it much. like I had a moment. Like, so when I was bouncing back and forth between checking my email, and then I would go into chat and I'd say something in chat. And I went in there at one point, and it was like 6 minutes before the show was supposed to start. And chat's doing this. Like, it's flying. I'm like I'm looking at a Dr. Disrespect chat flying by. And and I and I'm looking at it the best I can, and I'm seeing the names, and I'm like, oh my God, they're all Bigfoot people. Almost all of them. Almost all those people are Bigfoot people. And I'm seeing names I recognize that aren't even like not even all that recognizable from my chat, but I see him in other people's chat, and I'm like, oh my God, you guys showed up. This is like, I got emotional about it. It was weird. It was a fun moment just to see you guys show up. That meant the world to me on so many different levels. I can't even tell you. So, where are we at? I don't know. Hold on. Let me check some. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. He didn't. That's right. So just so you guys know, Alex was sitting there with his suit top on, his suit coat, tie. I mean, he wasn't wearing any pants. He was not wearing pants. True story. And I think that, I don't know. I thought that made it to air, but maybe not. I don't know. Anyway. So what do I want to do here? Do I want to just say, okay, that's all I got? I don't know. I hate the fact that, I did a half hour show the Monday just to announce this stuff. And okay, she's saying, yeah, it did make air. Okay. Okay. I'm wearing pants, by the way. And I always do. Every time I go on air, I wear pants. Are you still here? Or hey, yeah, he's still here. Fuck it. Sorry, I'm being all sweary tonight. I mean, it's late. Kids don't watch the show anyway, right? I mean, it's not like it has to be a total complete cuss fest, but just drop an F-bomb every now and then. Did I do that right? Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Thanks, Sandra. It was I'm telling you, I got emotional. I got emotional, man. Seeing chat flying by so fast and seeing that, oh my God, I recognize almost all these names. Even if they're not in my chat. It's like I see them in other people's chat. I'm like, what a showing. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you guys had to show up for that. I'm sure it was entertaining enough to you. Like, I get that. But that's not the debate I wanted. And I got too wrapped up in making it happen, forcing it to happen. Like, that I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll debate this Alex guy, whoever the hell he is. And then I see him and I'm like, oh, I know who Alex is. Oh, great. You know, like, uh, he's giving me shit like he's giving me shit about Bigfoot. Like, I'll I just don't see it. There's no evidence, but the guy will take the position that the Earth is 10,000 years old. Like, get out of here. Get this guy out of here. Sorry, Alex. Like, Alex is a fun enough dude. I get it. I get what you are, man. Like I said, Peter Kane. You remind me of Peter Kane very, very much. And so, Alex, if you ever watch this, which you probably won't, go check out Peter Kane. And joke's on you. Flip the script, right? How do we get rid of this? I gotta get rid of this. Anyway. It's just not the debate I wanted. It would have been much, much different with T Jump or hey, who I just invited into the room, by the way. Yeah, I knew I knew I did good. I felt confident the whole time. There was a couple of times where my brain was so active I couldn't remember certain terminology. That's what bothered me. That's what bothered me the most about the debate. So that's as much as he threw me off. So he did throw me off a couple of times to a point where my brain, which can normally remember terminology, even if it takes me half a second to ponder it, but I was struggling on a couple of things, and then so I had to say it a different way because I'm like, I can't remember this terminology, So yeah, he threw me. He did throw me off a little bit, but not much, just a little bit, because it's a lot to defend when they're trying to drag you down the contrarian rabbit hole. I'll just call it. I just, to be honest with you guys, I'm concerned what the audience saw, and I'm talking about the non-Bigfoot audience. I did, and I think we have some of those. I think some people have crept over here. Just, well, let's see what Pat's more about when he doesn't have to deal with Alex, and I appreciate that. Yeah, use it as a learning experience. Nothing's lost. I'm not saying it's a loss. It's okay to have notes, and yeah, and I did. I did have some notes pulled up. So, but thank you for the kind words and advice. I appreciate that, Isa. And so let's just bring Jorge right in. I sent him an invite. Here he is.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, man. What's up, bud?
Not much. I have to go about my phone. I'm traveling for work, so you don't get my avatar. Sorry.
Oh, damn. Let's see. How can I fix that? I don't think I can fix that.
It's all good.
I do have a picture of your avatar. I could just pull it up.
I don't think that's necessary. But yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, you know Alex, so I'm 0% surprised it went down the way it did. I also don't blame James, right? It's a visual medium, so That's cool. I tried actually to get a brain bug in there for you. I got a hold of brain bug, but
Yeah,
he got home a bit late, so
I thought about Brain too, and to be honest with you, I like Brain's cool, and I mean I'll talk to Brain, obviously, dude. We all talked last week this time, right?
exactly.
But for that show, I just didn't want him, you know.
Gotcha.
Um, I thought that was gonna like because me and Brain talk pretty tame, you know, and I'm like, hey, there's got to be a little bit more heat there, you know what I mean? But
Sure.
but not the kind of shit that Alex is gonna bring. Like again, you know, I felt like I was dealing with a 10-year-old shooting an airsoft gun at me, full auto. You know what I mean?
No,
Yeah.
I've seen Alex in many debates. They usually turn it off when he's on there because he never actually makes an argument. He never makes a point, right?
No, he's a complete contrarian, dude. It's all an act. It's all an act.
And I guess kudos to him because he keeps getting on there, so act must be successful.
Yeah, well, he wasn't wearing any pants, and he wasn't wearing pants, and he was wearing like slippers or flip flops or something. I couldn't tell what the fuck. I don't know. Um, I don't know, man. But yeah,
So
it's not.
I guess I'll ask you. I've never seen that second video you showed about like the Bigfoot walking away. Is that from the PG film or is that a different
It
film?
is. Yeah, yeah. It
Huh.
absolutely is. Um,
So is the idea of this because I mean, is the idea of that second film to like show the detail and that's not a costume or like why did you show it?
hey, the fucking goddamn girth of that thing, the width is fairly obvious to me. It should be fairly obvious to anybody looking at it. Again, this is 1967. Um, that is a very large back, refrigerator sized thing walking away that just simply couldn't have been a costume in that time. And uh, that when my buddy sent me that clip, that was actually when I personally realized, holy shit, that thing's razorbacked. It's got its hair standing up like my dog's.
That's the clip you're referencing. Okay, because you were
Yeah.
talking about that, and I was trying to
Mhm.
remember the Passing Gimli film, and I didn't think it was like sharp enough to see the
Right.
standing on the end. But okay, you're referencing this. Yeah, again, Alex was so scatterbrained that I couldn't
Yeah.
keep track of your points.
Right.
So
Yeah. That's what Alex does, dude. He'll just like in the middle of your sentence, he'll just throw like two rocks at you, like, and when it start talking about trail cams or, it's like change the subject. It's all tactics. It's all tactic, you know.
yeah,
And I realize that. And with Alex, that's easy. It's actually easy to pick up with Alex because he's so like it's such an act. But with like a good debater, like somebody like really good, they know how to try and drag you down into the rabbit hole of minutia to kill time.
correct.
You know what I mean? Like, and they're the way they do it's way differently. And I had already prepared myself for that. Not that I thought T Jump is that kind of dude, because he's not. But still, you want to prepare yourself for it, you know.
That
Um,
makes sense.
yeah, but with Alex, and I didn't even get to make my greater point in all that, you know, is that I discovered the Razorback effect, what I call Razorback, like, the dog or the cat that gets that back hair up. I When I saw that clip my buddy sent me, I said, "Holy shit, she's Razorback!" Like I saw it right away. Um, call it what you will, just observational intuition, whatever, right? Just how I look at the world. But
Sure.
come to find out, and I do see it in the PG film as well. But come to find out, the first time the PG film was stabilized, so like the original copy is very shaky, right? The actual film is very shaky. And so in 1999, Doug Hychak stabilized the PG film for the first time, and he did it for Legend Meets Science too. I'm sorry, Legend Meets Science. And so this happened in a room with at the time was like $100,000 screen that they had to do what they call live transfer. So big, giant, high definition, even for the time, $100,000 screen, not screen, but like whatever it was, right? Like,
yeah,
to live transfer onto that, and so they all got to see it in that sort of new way, stabilized and in high definition. And that's when it was obvious that the Razorback effect was happening in the hair in the other part of the PG film. Now,
so
I found that out after I looked at the other clip real quick. After I looked at the other clip from behind, and I said, "Oh my God, that thing's Razorback." I only come to find that out later, that everything I just told you about the 1999, stabilization, $100,000 high def screen, blah blah blah. So, yeah, is that when that was actually discovered?
So I guess something that would be a bit more compelling to me would be not that the hair is standing on end, but that like it does it in response, right? Because that like the hair, you could make a costume with the hair standing up. That can be done, right? But something that adjusts to, like, Patty sees them, her hair stands up as she leaves. Because right, that would be something I would find hard to do in a costume.
Right.
So does the PG film show a difference, or does it just show the hair being up?
Only if you can look at it at the way that I just described it.
Yeah.
When they
I can't do that.
So when they did do that, they scrubbed it back and forth, and it actually rose. They scrubbed it back and forth to where they could see it raising.
Gotcha.
In the film. So I wasn't there, Jorge. That's what I'm being told, and it's from what I consider a trusted source. So, and a professional who has zero reason to hoax.
Yeah.
Very well-known producer.
I'm willing to grant all of that, but it's still you run into that same issue of the Bigfoot community, wherein all these people are trustworthy. I'm not doubting that, but I need that little step more. So if that film was shown and someone did the analysis and broke it down, that would be, I think that'd be engaging beyond this guy's trustworthy. He's a good buddy. He knows what he's doing.
I agree. And I think we're at the end of the days with this film. I don't think it could be, there's not much more. But I think that there will be a presentation at some point where that's in play,
cool.
In the way you just described. And I say that's fair, because at the end of the day, well, take my word for it. Yeah, dude, like I get it, but it's at least putting it out there as a new consideration, as opposed to fucking Alex. It's like, oh yeah, it's obviously a guy in a suit, like it's like, no, here's another piece of the puzzle that should be taken into consideration is that, we have reason to believe that this, piloerection effect is happening. And again, that was something I discovered on my own after looking at the damn film for 20 years.
Yeah.
I discovered it on my own. I said, holy shit, man, she's razorbacked, which makes sense. She's pissed or she's startled, like all the different things that make us do it. That's something that happens to us. It's just we don't have a lot of body hair.
I want to say, I could be wrong here, but isn't that response usually a make you look bigger, right? It's like a
Yes.
bird stepping out the feather. Right? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, that's like, yes, that's what it's for.
It's like an evolutionary holdover on us because it doesn't do anything for humans necessarily to get scared.
Make you kind of go like, ooh, if you're telling a weird story about, the car accident you almost got in, like, oh man, ooh. And yeah, sure enough, your hair is like,
Okay, so here's one that I was kind of thinking. Alex didn't go useful down this road, but I think it's an interesting point if he was a legitimate debater for this conversation. When he was talking about Bigfoot's ass, essentially, is there a argument to be made that Bigfoot doesn't make sense shape-wise in the PG film? I know we don't know what Bigfoot shape actually is, but animals follow certain patterns and certain proportions to them, right? So have you ever heard a conversation along those lines, like Pay's ass is too big, therefore I think it's a costume? Is that a conversation to be had for you or not?
Yeah, there's people in the Bigfoot world that have made that point, and they almost think that tuft of hair like above her rear end is a seam. And I'm like, well, that's hyper speculation. I don't see a seam. I do see a tuft of hair above her butt. And I'm like, dude, her glutes are huge. Just exactly what you would need to be that big and strong of an animal living in those environments. Big old glutes. And they don't look like ours. Her hips aren't like ours. There's also an argument that she doesn't do the dunk like females do. Human females do like a dunk, right?
I think that's a technical term. Yeah.
That is a technical term, and that's because the females have a birth canal, right? And so scientists are puzzled. Like she's not doing that. She's not moving her hips in a way that a female primate, upright walking primate should. And it all gets into the whole birth canal issue. I'm like, well, so what? We don't know. Okay. Like, again, like I don't have one sitting right here. Well, hey, let me go check and let me cut it open and check it real quick. That's a tough spot to be in, but there's got to be a reason.
Well, I mean, I guess to me, as to put on the skeptic hat, I think that is a decent argument because animals do follow morphology. So if you have most of your great apes have these certain characteristics, therefore Bigfoot should as well, right? So that's not necessarily. I get what you're saying, that it's not a definitive case, but it is a decent argument. I mean,
sure, but my argument back to that is, again, we don't.
And we'll have to stand.
This is something that we can't study. It's like I don't want to. I never want to become a dog chasing its tail. Here are the reasons why it's not a guy in a suit. And they're powerful reasons. The joints aren't in the limb proportions, joints on the limbs, all of that. You know, it's called the term, and this is one of the terminologies I forgot, is that intermembral index is not human, and that's just geometry and math. It's not wishful thinking. It's not connecting dots where they don't. The intermembral membrex index intermembral index. That's kind of hard to say.
That's why I'm not saying it.
It's not a guy in a suit, which means the joints in the elbow and the lengths of the arm lengths, bicep, forearm, the thigh, calf, where the knee is placed. None of those things match up to human proportions whatsoever. No matter how hard you try, you would literally have to move surgically somehow, move the joints in a person, and then put them in a fucking suit that has boobs on it. It's like, it's so crazy at this point. But I'm starting to feel like the PG film and trying to stick up for it is just beating a dead horse. You know?
And then you run into your issue where there's not much else, right? Like, what's the other video?
Visually, no. The Patterson Gimlin film is it, Jorge. And I mean, you should know that about me. Like, that's it.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
that's
I'm agreeing. Yes,
nothing comes close, and whatever we get next has to literally be at least 10 times better than that. Like, it, or maybe 5 times better than that. I don't know. However you want to, categorize that. Longer,
then you're left with
better.
tracks and sightings, basically.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, so the next piece of video evidence that comes along, it, like, in my mind, has to blow the PG film out of the water. Like, that's where I'm at, So, because it has been 54 years, it's a little bit of a head scratcher. But here's the thing: if you're a guy like me and you're like, well, I know the phenomena is out there, and I know what the best explanation is for it, that doesn't go into, supernatural shit, right? Then there has to be a reason. And so then you have to kind of speculate. Well, they're just that good at avoiding us. They know when we're around. So this gets into a lot of stuff that Vaughn will talk about. Vaughn would sit here and say, they know when you're a quarter mile away from them. Or he might even say more than that. But I think that's what he usually says. And it's like, he's a guy that's out there experiencing this shit, or he's full of shit, right? It's one of those two things,
well, I prefer
whatever.
I prefer the third option of he is honest to himself, but he's not honest to reality. When he's honest in his belief of what he saw, but that doesn't make it what actually happened. Like, he's not a liar, but he also doesn't know. Like, that's a third option that's very possible.
I guess that's like, it's a little contradictory to me, but.
Well, because, he hears, like, the wood knocks thing you guys always talk about. Oh, I know the animals in the woods, and that's now an animal in the woods. Well, you don't know that. You could be the world's best tracker. You could be Theodore Roosevelt out there, but that doesn't mean that you have heard every variation of every piece of wood hitting another piece of wood possible.
No,
you can't say it's not.
I get that. I mean, forget the wood knocks. He's seen the damn things. He claims to be able to track them.
Yes.
And so out of that experience, which is more than just one experience, it's dozens of experiences. He's determined, like, when you get so close, they know you're there, and that fits the reason why we don't see him very often. That fits the whole, if you want to call it forest ninjas, whatever you want to call that, the effect of that. They're really good at keeping their distance from us and controlling the situation. And all the anecdotal accounts also back that up.
Sure.
And so at some point, because we can't observe the way we want to observe, you have to start considering those factors. And so that all that stuff does become some type of evidence to me, or potential evidence. And it's enough to develop a theory and move forward with that theory. And that's all I'm trying to do. In that kind of minutia that we're talking about right now,
Yeah, and it seems, and again, from my side, what you just said is I have this idea and I'm going to build upon the idea, but the initial concept isn't firmly enough planted. But somehow my expansion of my initial concept is going to reinforce the original concept. Like, I assume it's small enough to not be found. And since I haven't found it, that's proof that's small enough not to be found. And that's circular, right? I mean,
no, I'm trying to move forward with new ideas and new tactics based on anybody that can say they can get me close, rather than me doing more of a needle in the haystack random search.
yeah.
I can prove them right or debunk the hell out of them.
If Vaughn was here, he'd be able to answer this. Obviously, he's not. But
yeah, and I'm not trying to speak for him, but yeah.
Do you think there's Bigfoot hunters out there that could give you, like, what is the square mile area where a Bigfoot hunter can say, I know a nest of them exists there? Is this like can you nail it down to a 10 square mile area, or is it kind of pointlessly big?
That's a tough one, Jorge, because I know that Vaughn will say he can nail him down to that kind of area, or maybe less.
Because as you know from drone work, and as I know personally from like area work and stuff I've done in the past, like you can scan large areas to a certain level of accuracy, right? So if Vaughn can say, hey, I guarantee you within this square on this map, Bigfoot lives there, and there's enough of them that they know how to hide from me, right? It's not like a lone dude. They can communicate, so there's a family at the very least.
Yes, and that's
then
my
could
plan.
Make an argument. Yeah. Right. You could make an argument for some sort of aerial coverage from your drones or what have you. And I doubt Bigfoot can spot a drone, right?
Yeah,
that's giving it way too much intelligence.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. I always say I've actually had more criticism from the Bigfoot world than the skeptic world when it comes to drones. The Bigfoot world just doesn't seem to like that idea for some reason, man.
They like the technology at the 8mm level, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anything past 8mm film is far too advanced for you guys.
Right, yeah, no. I think it's my theory, if you will, on that is it's personal, and it's a psychological thing, because the people that go out in the woods and look for Bigfoot, it's personal. It's personal to them, right?
Say that in the debate, yeah.
So I think it makes them uncomfortable, this idea of like, oh well, I mean, I can stand over here on this mountain and go over there and look. I don't have to go marching around in the woods, and I think that's part of the pushback, because here's what they say. Here's the biggest thing here's the biggest like immediate debunk in the Bigfoot world when it comes to drones. Every time is that they'll hear it. Okay. So, I'm like, by the time they hear it, I'm on top of them. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
they're already on film. What are they going to do about it? So yeah, like, but for some reason that's where people go in their heads. They're like, they equate, they'll hear it to, you can't film it, you know, like a kid, doing this, you can't see me, like, it's like, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if they
Yeah,
can hear.
it's not the best of responses now.
No.
But yeah, and all of that just it circles back to that. There seems to be a lot of excuses why better stuff hasn't happened, and since better stuff hasn't happened, you're stuck in this cycle, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I remember having a conversation with you guys about shooting Bigfoot, and there's like eight Bigfoot guys, and you all, oh, I'd never shoot Bigfoot given the opportunity. I'm like, the hell, I definitely would. To prove Bigfoot exists, shoot one. I
Not if you're
mean,
by yourself,
if the
dude.
population's so big that it can withstand the death of someone, and I'm able to take a body and concretely prove it,
Yeah, I
that's
mean, I get your logic, but it's like some of the problem and disconnect here in some of these discussions is that you think it's logic versus logic, and I will concede, dude, I have to make assumptions to go
yes.
along with the logic. And here's why. I'll give you a good example. You say you'd shoot it. Well, what if you're by yourself in a fairly remote area? Bro, there's one thing that we know in the Bigfoot world. We have a saying. If you see one, always assume there's two. Okay? So you shoot it, and next thing you know, man, you got a broken neck and you're dying. Like,
Well, a
could
counter
very
to
well
that would
be.
be, I mean, sure, you see one, there's two, yeah, but people hunt grizzly bears, right? You people hunt bears, which are very, very rare, very, very dangerous, very, very smart. You always have a sidearm, you always have a pistol on you when you hunt bear. So, and you probably have a friend with you too, because you got to haul that giant carcass out of the woods. So, if you can hunt a grizzly bear, I don't see how you couldn't hunt a Bigfoot.
Bigfoot are much more elusive than grizzlies.
Well, no,
Like,
no, I'm not saying that they're as easy to track as a grizzly, but I'm talking about the difficulty of locating them and the danger
yeah,
involved and stuff like.
you don't
You
hunt
one
you don't
person
hunt
doesn't
a
go hunt
Bigfoot.
grizzly.
You don't hunt a Bigfoot. You either shoot it or you don't.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, to me
They
as
control the
someone,
situation. Yeah.
yeah, to me as someone, this is all in my head, right? I'm not going to go out and try to hunt Bigfoot tomorrow. I got plenty of other stuff to do. Maybe Thursday,
I
but
get it.
yeah. So I mean, if I don't see the argument of if you see a Bigfoot, you don't shoot it because his neighbor might throw a rock at you. Well, you can prepare for that though. You can have three guys go out, and they can all have guns on them. And if Bigfoot is so technologically advanced that it can fight off three well-armed hunters who are trained in the woods, then you're starting to approach the level of intelligence that how the fuck have we seen this? Where is this condo? Oh,
Yeah, so that's the thing is that, right, you take three guys out in the woods, then they'll move away from you. They won't reveal themselves at that point. They know what they're up against at that point. And those stories don't happen. There's not stories of three guys being together, really. I mean, there's
well, wasn't the
some.
Patterson Gimli film three people?
No, it was two
There was
guys.
one oh, it's two guys. Well, okay, then two guys. And one's on a
Yeah,
horse. A horse is like a
yeah,
half a person. I mean,
yeah, and
like that's
so
a large
one,
group of people.
sorta. Uh, it was two men and one Bigfoot, and the Bigfoot said, "Fuck this, I'm out of here," and walked away. Now, Bob Gimlin he flanked around to Roger's right, and he actually got closer to Patty than Roger ever did. And he grabbed for his gun, and at that point, because like he didn't know what was going to happen, you know. I think he said he thought about shooting it, but it was more of like, if I have to, I'll shoot this thing, right?
Sure.
And so that's just the way that went down. Like he never actually pointed the gun at the thing. It was walking away. He didn't know what he was looking at. I mean, it was all happened in the moment, you know, and so he just let it walk away, you know, like without shooting at it. And I mean, I hate to bring anecdotal back into it, but there's a lot of what I would consider very credible anecdotal accounts with people that were armed. And when they saw it, it was either one or two reasons, maybe both, that they didn't shoot. Number one, they're alone. So 3 reasons. They're by themselves. Number two, it had human features. So they didn't know what they were going to even be shooting at. And number 3, the thought went through their head, this gun isn't going to do a damn thing to that thing. That's the most common theme, is that this gun ain't going to do no good.
Well, I can't give you 3 because we can kill a grizzly bear. A grizzly bear stand like 11 feet tall. So unless they're going out, you know, you bring out a 308, it'll punch a hole through Bigfoot. You know, unless he's interdimensional, then in which case I'll give you that.
It takes very special guns to kill grizzly bears, dude.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it can be done.
But that doesn't mean if you're a hunter and you're out in the woods and you walk out into a clearing and there's a grizzly bear staring at you, that you're just gonna shoot it.
I'm trying to make the argument that
they don't do that.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm trying to make the argument that you could. I foresee the possibility of people getting together with the express purpose of shooting a Bigfoot, and given the amount of tracking knowledge that's claimed, being able to get one. I think that could be possible, and I find it weird that the Bigfoot community is so full of hunters, and none of them have done this throughout the past 60 years or whatever, 50 years. No one's ever shot a Bigfoot. Like,
yeah, they don't. Well, I don't know that that's the case
because they love Bigfoot so much. I mean, no.
There's not organization there, Jorge. Again, you're talking about a relative few people. I'd say there's only 200 to 300 people actively going out into the woods with any regularity looking for evidence of Bigfoot. Most of those people, I'll tell you this, most of those people are what you would call no kill. So they have a
even better, grab the camera, even better.
They have a morality system that they're not trying to kill these things. There's very few people in the Bigfoot world trying that will be willing to harvest a specimen. So that just makes the numbers game a virtual 0 chance that they'll ever be successful.
Yeah. So if I grant you that, then my obvious comeback is bring the camera, right?
Sure.
Bring your high level camera. You have to make less noise. Bigfoot's not going to attack you again, and that hasn't happened either. So
I agree, and they're very standoffish. There has
if
to
you
be
can see one, you can take a picture of it.
Yeah,
we take pictures of animals that are.
It's that logic. Like, you're operating off pure logic right now.
Yes.
And I am operating off of, the real world knowledge that I have and have gathered. And I do have to throw some speculation in there. I do have to throw some theorizing in there, because again, there has to be a reason. There's a goddamn reason why we don't have 20,000 fucking photographs of Bigfoot.
Yeah, and
right?
you know my reason, yeah.
Yeah, your reason might be, well, they don't exist. And then, we could circle back to the PG film when I could say, it's been proven that's not a guy in a suit, so what the fuck is it? I'll say, I can tell you what it isn't. It's not a guy in a suit. Like, so to me, that evidence is already there. The anecdotal body of evidence is already there. Why are people seeing this shit in the woods? I could tell you what's not happening. They're not all liars. It's not all misidentification. I'm looking at it through my own logical lens. But again, I swim these waters. You don't. You're curious about it. That's the best answer I can give you.
Yeah. And I don't have a defeater for all these people, right? I can't tell you. I don't know of an answer to your statement. Besides the fact that it's not personally convincing to me, and then, hey, that's where we started in the first place, right?
Yeah.
So I personally think it is more likely my third option, where the people honestly believe they saw something, but they are still wrong. Like, what is the PG film? I don't know, but I don't see supporting evidence for Bigfoot being an existing creature. Therefore, I have a reason to doubt that the PG film is that existing creature. All these people saying all this stuff. Well, I could probably think of other examples of things that neither of us believe in that people claim they have seen. Hindu people claiming to see their various gods, and tons of people seen that, right? And are they actually seeing those gods? The statues crying milk and stuff like that? No, right? That doesn't. Just because these people say they see it doesn't provide evidence to the cause. So,
no, I hear you, but also it becomes a numbers game, and so I would say this: the only other phenomena I can think of that comes close to Bigfoot and actually probably supersedes it with the anecdotal shit is ghosts.
Or aliens.
And not aliens. Not many people see aliens.
Well, no, UFOs.
UFOs. Yeah. Okay. So UFO, I'm just gonna kind of separate that one because a lot of people don't know they don't know they don't know how to judge what they're looking at in the sky.
Yeah.
I've seen that firsthand. And so I'm not saying the UFO phenomena is a real thing and whatever, but the ghost thing, man, yeah, I could throw a rock right now if somebody's got a ghost story.
Oh yes,
and that seems to supersede the visual encounter, kind of thing, or not. Sometimes the ghost thing's not visual. It could be a lot of different things, right?
Yes.
But yeah. So yeah, I would say that the ghost thing's probably bigger, and that makes me go, well, what the hell is that all about? Nobody's explained that. Misinterpretation is not good enough for me. That's a simple answer. And especially with the Bigfoot thing, misinterpretation or hallucination is not an answer. What that is a bigger mystery. If people are going out into the woods and they're hallucinating Bigfoot, well, why is that hallucination happening? We don't have an answer for that. Why do they not hallucinate Bigfoot in the same kind of numbers in downtown Chicago? Shouldn't that be happening?
Well, because Bigfoot pop culturally doesn't exist in Chicago. Bigfoot pop culturally exists in the woods, which is why you'd see him in the woods.
I agree, but pop culture doesn't make people hallucinate, dude. We have unicorns. We have Lord of the Rings.
Claim to see unicorns. People claim to see Gollum.
Not,
I mean,
not in these numbers though.
well, no,
So-
because less people believe unicorns exist.
And I would say this: Lord of the Rings is bigger pop culture than Bigfoot.
Yeah, but you have that disconnect where there isn't a large Lord of the Rings is real culture. There's no Pat from Lord of the Rings talk who goes on here and brings douchebags like me on here to argue about if Lord of the Rings is real.
Right, because nobody fucking sees hobbits in the woods. Nobody sees Gollum in the woods. Like that's why.
But you do find people claiming that stuff still.
Okay,
Plus the
again,
numbers
it's a
are
numbers
smaller.
game. That's a
Yeah.
numbers game, dude.
I appreciate we're agreeing right now, so I don't know what we're just.
Yeah.
It's getting kind of late for me. I got to head off soon. Anyways.
No, it's fine. I mean, I appreciate you talking to me, and I wish that we could have worked that out earlier. But James did say, I will say this. James said, so now you're on his radar, right? he said, you know, he kind of offered it as an alternative, but I think it's all still in play no matter what. It's like, you know, would it be cool if we, you know, did something in the future, like a 2v2 and Jorge was involved, you know, because I showed him clips of you on my show because he was all about vetting. He's like, man, you know, you've never been on there. You know, he's just trying to protect his channel. You know, he didn't know you from Jane. And I was like, dude, it's cool, man. Like, Jorge's been on my show. It's all good. I sent him a clip. And he was kind of hung up on the camera thing, you know, but I almost had him, dude. But he did sort of offer something for the future. So just to let you know, man, you could be how about this, dude? You and me debate flat earthers.
Oh, flat earthers. Those people are terrible.
How fun would that be?
I'm sure it'd be a time, but you'd probably get someone like Whitsitt or that's like, you know, Alex Steen levels of stupid, and
it's okay. I can handle wit.
I think
yeah, because I'm on the other end of the debate, dude. You know?
Yeah, true.
You know how much easier it is to be on the other end of the debate, Jorge? I mean, do you know how much easier? Right? It's a lot easier when you're on the other end of the debate. Yeah.
I can believe it. I will say I'm not going to say no, but I'm not going to commit right now. You have not pushed me down yet, so.
Yeah, no, well, I'm just saying you and I could actually do a debate together.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. And or maybe let's see what else. What else could we? Let's see your geology. Like, well, hey, we could take on Alex and some other dumbass about 10,000-year-old Earth or whatever. No dinosaurs.
I had a quick conversation with him about dinosaurs being fake, and I put the clip on my channel, but it was very stupid. Of course, it was Alex Steen. I mean, it goes
he's just
on purpose. So.
It's an act. It's an act. And no offense, Alex. That's just my opinion. You're not clairvoyant, and you will never guess the brand of my cigarettes. And I'll make $1,000 bet on that with him.
He already guessed 4 times incorrectly, so I think he won.
Yeah, well, he can keep guessing. He'll never get it. But yeah, dude. So yeah, I'm just letting you know, dude, that you know, there's a possibility that you could be involved in a debate, even if I'm not there. You know, so.
Well, you know, he's got me on Twitter. He got my email. Just let me know. So I'm probably gonna head off. I gotta still work tomorrow, you know, and make my money. So.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, thanks for popping in, and thanks for watching tonight. And thanks for kind of having my back with the whole. Hey, that's who Alex is. Like, it's not just me, you know, but everyone kind of saw that too, I think.
Exactly. All right. Good night.
All right, man. Later, bro. All right. So yeah, it's almost 12:30. That's pretty much all I got, guys. But hey, thanks again for showing up. Like that meant the world to me, man. In all that madness of trying to make this happen, because I was just so hyper focused on making it happen. You know, I saw that. I saw chat flying by, like, again, like Dr. Disrespect, man. I was like, holy shit. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate you guys showing up tonight and checking out the after show. Even if, you know, especially, and also anybody, you know, from Modern Day Debate Channel tonight who, you know, your first introduction to me was tonight's show, and you've come here to check this out. I appreciate that too. Hope you stick around. We have good discussions. We talk to skeptics, obviously. I just talked to Jorge. I talked to Jorge last Tuesday. And so now I got to find some guests for Friday, but Discord. What on the, you know, I don't have Discord. So I guess you're talking like Modern Day Debate Discord. Hell, I need to join that. God, man, I could stir up all kinds of stuff there. Not stir up, but you know what I mean. Anyway, be more engaging with different things, including Bigfoot. But hey, thanks for being here, guys. I'm gonna wrap it up and get my ass to bed where I belong. And hopefully I'll pick the right outro that I want tonight. I think that's it. Right. I think it's this one. All right, we'll try this. Thanks for watching, guys and gals. We'll see you on Friday.
Let's assume that you've got to this point in the video and you don't agree with me at all. Fine, but I guarantee that this video has been beneficial to you. It will, at the very least, have allowed you to compare your own argument to mine, thus giving you an understanding of the opposite view of the argument. And, assuming you're being honest with yourself and actually paid attention, it will have strengthened your own line of reasoning in preparation for an intellectually honest counter-argument. Therefore, even if you don't agree with me at all, this video will still have been useful to you, even if it only confirmed what you previously knew. If I get defeated here, if someone comes along with a very good counter-argument that defeats mine properly, then great, we've all learned. And if I'm right, great, we've all learned again. But if we don't have the debate, because it's artificially shut down, or people complain so much that it persuades people not to take me seriously, we can't learn. We can't find the truth. So we will live in ignorance of the truth. It is therefore in all our best interests to have a debate about this subject. But if the academics or corporations like YouTube or the central state are not allowing the debate, or somehow find a way to call this offensive and take it down, then we won't learn and we will have a valueless interpretation of